Well. Here we go. Tonight we thank everybody for joining in with us, who took your time out to come in with us on this Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And we know this is what we call Black History Month. But if you're anything like me, that we celebrate Black History 365 days of the year. And sometimes they give us these. There's really just this low few days to celebrate Black history. But I came up with a thought in mind that I not only want to celebrate Black history in the month, but I also want to celebrate Black achievements as well, and to highlight some of the things that and some of the contributions that African Americans, men and women, have given to society. And so on today, we have a very outstanding young man with us on today. And come on, let's get very outstanding young man on today, who's going to be with us. And we're just going to talk about Black excellence, and we're going to talk about Black history and all of the things and all the achievements of Black history. And we're just going to have an exciting time with you on today. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And I call this is a pop-up. This is a pop-up. And we're going to be doing this throughout the month of Black history. We're going to invite some more people, or I might be doing some other things. Anybody that knows me, they know my passion for history and sociology. I just love it. We grew up in a home where we had encyclopedias and all of that. So I was always in some kind of book and always trying to learn something. So today we have a very exciting young man with us, and that is none other than Mr. Leon Howard. I want you on Facebook. I want you to go ahead and give some likes. Come on and give some hearts. And come on, give him applause. Come on. He's here, y'all.
Wow, that's a lot.
So we're gonna we listen. Anybody that know me, I'm one of the most laid back individuals that you could ever meet. But I do like to have fun sometimes. So we're just gonna have some fun. Mr. Leon, he's gonna come. He's gonna talk to us about some things about himself, and we just want you to get involved with us on today. We just want to say we're just thankful for everybody to come in. I see my wife in here. I see Brother Willie Wilson. Amen. He is our church administrator. You talking about somebody who does an absolutely awesome job when it comes to church administration. And Deacon Wilson, I have to say this about him. He is a tier 1 administrator for our church. He is the man that gets the job done. Come on, I love to celebrate people. Yeah, he's the one to get the job done. And all of you, I think it's some even on. I don't see you. I don't know how to even find myself, but I think there might even be some. I think we got we have what you call it, YouTube. We got YouTube even going on. So we're excited about all of those.
What you call it?
On YouTube? Who on YouTube?
Even going.
I got a playback. We're excited about those that are on YouTube. We're thankful for all of you that have come in. So listen, let's get to the show. How many people love Black history? Come on, how many people love Black history? And today, instead of us talking about, and I'm going to say this might make somebody mad. Instead of talking about slavery, instead of talking about the civil rights movement, and all of those different things, we have to understand something, that the civil rights movement and all of those things are not necessarily Black history within themselves. That is a space and time in American history where African Americans was trying to win the rights of just any human beings. So I don't want to attribute that to Black history, and we forget about all of the inventions, all of the contributions that African American has given, not to just this country, but also to the entire world. And not only that, But we want to understand that Black history did not start with slavery. Oftentimes, when we think about Black history, we see pictures of people getting water hose put on them. We see pictures of hangings. We see pictures of people marching. But we forget about the kings and the queens that we were before we got on the ship. Yes, that was a really a strategic reason as to why they invaded West Africa, because some of the most intelligent people in the world live in West Africa. So we may have gotten off the boat half naked, looking poor, sweating, but that's not the way we got on the boat. And so I think Black history should entail more than the affliction that we received while we were here in this continent that we call America. I think it should entail more. I think it should highlight achievements, value, things that we give into the whole world. And so on tonight, that's what we have. We're going to talk about a young man who, through adversity, he was able to achieve some things in life and on the level, and he has reached a very high level of education. And not only that, even experience. So I want you to, one more time, those of you who are watching us on YouTube, those of you who are watching us on Facebook, I want you to do something. Y'all know when I come on, I oftentimes say I can't see your hand claps or hear your hand claps, but I can see your likes and I can see your hearts. So I want you all together. Let's go ahead on and let's clap our hands for the one and only Mr. Leon Howard. Come on, give me some likes. Come on. Give me some likes. Give me some hearts. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Well, Leon, we got you on here today. How you doing today, sir?
I'm great. And I thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you with us on today. I was excited about this all day long, and I've been wanting to do this with Mr. Leon for some time now. But, you know, pandemic, everything going on, and many of you know I'm very, 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 very busy. But we've been wanting to do this for a long time. And so finally I said, you know what? You know, sometimes you try to set a date and you try to set a time, you try to narrow it down just right. And all the time, things don't always go the way you want them to go. So I said, today, we're just going to do this thing. I said, it's going to be a pop-up. And I'm finding out, Leon, sometimes that's the way to do things. Sometimes you just have to just go ahead on and say, you know what? Today is the day that we're going to do this thing. So, and that's what I said. And so when I asked him, I didn't want to catch him, didn't want to put him on the spot, didn't want to catch him off guards. But when I asked him, he said, yes, no questions asked. If you need me to do it, and so he's here today, and we're just thankful to him. In my background, you're going to constantly see different background changes to highlight. So when you see those background changes, it is not that my computer is messing up, but I want to make sure that we highlight as many pictures, as many quotes as we can to get that Black history, African and Black history spirit going on. So, Mr. Leon, I didn't give you an intro and I didn't give a bio because in this interview, I want you to kind of talk about, I want you to talk about yourself and I want you to share your own bio. So, Mr. Leon, before we get started, I want to make sure, I want to do a sound check. And I want to make sure that those of you who are on Facebook Live, I want to make sure that you all can hear us. I want to make sure you all can hear us. And those of you who are also watching on YouTube, I want to make sure you also can hear us very clear. And also, I know, and I don't know too much about how YouTube does it, but those of you who are on Facebook, I want you to take some time just for a moment. I want you to take some time and I want you to like this video and I want you to share it. Okay. I want you to take some time and I want you to like the video and I want to make sure you share this video in as many of your sites that you can possibly share them in, because we want to get everybody that we can. We want to get them on here so that they can hear this awesome testimony. And also there's going to be some words of encouragement that he's going to give us throughout this. How this interview is going to go, I'm going to do some question asking, and Mr. Leon, he's going to come and he's going to talk to us, and then what we're going to do, we're going to elaborate on some things. So, Mr. Leon,
Yes.
I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Give me some history about yourself.
Well, just a little bit about me. I was born the middle child of five. I have I had two older brothers and a younger brother and sister who were twins.
Mm-hmm.
At a young age, I experienced loss while attending Edgewood. Yes, I started off at Edgewood in Muskegon Heights. I had a brother who was killed in an accident. He was hit by a car on the corner of Summit and Getty.
Okay.
While I was attending Edgewood. And that had a huge impact on me at an early age. After Edgewood, I went on and went to a few other elementary schools, Moon, Oakview, and then on to still in Muskegon High School.
Big Reds.
Yeah, Big Reds, Big Reds. I must say, though, in school, I often struggled finding confidence in myself because I was born with speech impediment. I had trouble communicating and speaking in front of others because I had problems saying certain words.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me kind of quiet and shy. And being born with brothers and sisters who were very outgoing and vocal, I often fell back and was silent. And that kind of played a part in school too. So as I went through school and got to Still, I struggled my ninth grade year, ended up going to Vanderline, being a running rebel. And I got to get love up.
Tell us what some people may not know, but tell us what was Vanderline. What was that?
It was an alternative ed school for those those kids who either wasn't performing academically, who got in trouble, or for young women who end up getting pregnant. And I ended up getting sent there for a semester because I struggled in junior high. Mm-hmm. Not because I really couldn't do the work, but because I couldn't focus on my work because I had low self-esteem. I was struggling internally trying to find myself in that atmosphere. I hung around popular people, but I wasn't really popular myself. I was sort of like on the outskirts trying to find my way.
Okay.
And then I managed to get myself back to Muskegon after my semester at Vanderline. And I got back because I wanted to be with my friends and get back to the core things. And when I got back to Muskegon, I still struggled academically. I remember one semester I got like 5 Fs in one semester. Oh, and I say that not because I'm proud of it, but just to show you that it was a struggle for me in high school, trying to fit in, trying to find myself, trying to understand myself.
Yeah.
And because of that, I wasn't considered college material. College was never an option for me. Mm-hmm. And so the only way I thought I could be successful was to go to the military. I had other relatives who went to the military who ended up being, finding success. So I decided to go to the military. I went on a buddy plan with a friend of mine. But unfortunately, because I struggled so much in school, I end up having to do another half a year going to adult ed because I failed senior social. And for those who went to Muskegon, you know what senior social is. So I went to adult ed, had to go to I went to adult ed, went to school another semester. So I didn't graduate on time. And even to this day, that still irks me a little bit.
Okay.
that I didn't walk across the stage. I didn't get my diploma handed to me. I got it in the mail. So so I graduate. So after graduate, I did eventually end up graduating. So I decided to go ahead and go into the Navy. Went into the Navy, and the funny thing about the Navy, if you ever saw the movie Antoine Fisher, you will understand my experience in the Navy.
Okay.
Okay. I won't go too deep into it, but I experienced some of the same trauma he experienced. Of being an outsider, finding self, and having some experiences as a child that led to me having baggage. And when you go to the military, they don't deal with you having baggage very well. You got to leave your baggage at the door and achieve the task at hand. And I can remember after graduating from out of boot camp and going to my A school and to my duty station, I remember I was in San Diego, and I remember walking around San Diego campus, and the campus of San Diego State University campus. And I had on a book pack. And I remember I was pretending, imagining I was a student there. And, just pretend like I was a student, imagining.
Yes.
And I remember something hit me saying, I'm a fake, I'm a phony, I'm pretending.
Uh-huh.
And it was at that point when I said, I wonder why I didn't have the opportunity to go to college. I wonder why nobody talked to me about going to college or saw that potential in me. So on that day, I said, I don't know how, but some way, somehow, I'm going to make it to a major university one day, attend one, and graduate from a major university. And so it was on that day that I decided that I could be more than being a cook. That's what I was in the Navy. I was a cook. Because of my AVAS score, it wasn't very high. So the only job I could be, or the only job that was offered to me, was being a cook.
Yeah.
And nothing against being a cook, but I felt like I could be more and do more.
Uh-huh.
So on that day, I decided that I was going to get out the Navy and some way, somehow find my way to a university and get a college education. Because one thing I always admired and dreamed of being was a philosopher, or I always admired teaching and education. Mm-hmm. So I decided to get out. I got out the military. I ended up coming back home to Muskegon and still struggling to find myself. Because as you know, the Navy do a good job of indoctrinating you into the military, but they'll do a good job of exiting you out. So when I got out of the military, I felt kind of lost, kind of confused, trying to find my way around. And I ended up working at Eagle Ottawa for 6 months. And one of the best things that happens was that I got laid off from Eagle Ottawa. And then I found asking myself, what do I want to do? And so actually, let me back up a little bit, because something else critical happened to me at that point. 6 months after I got out the Navy, me and my brother went out to Lake Michigan to swim.
Okay.
And while we were swimming, he ended up getting pulled under by an undertow and drowning. And it was the first time that we really hung together after I got out the Navy. And that really had a huge impact on me, because he left behind 2 kids. 1-year-old, I think like a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. And so I became an uncle and a father figure at that point when he passed.
Wow. So let me pause for a few minutes. So coming up to now, you're in the Navy. Yes. And so it seemed like there was one one bump in the road, after another. And loss, especially when you lose a loved one, that is a bump in the road that sometimes it really takes hard to overcome, on top of some of the other difficulties that you might had in life. I want to emphasize to some of you that are listening to me on today, because as he's talking, one of the things that we can notice is that he never stopped. I want somebody to pay attention to that. There was no space and time in there, even though there was sound like difficult moments. I can't imagine especially losing a brother or sister. Mine is still here. But all of the other things, senior social was one of the things that I even struggled in. I loved math, and math was good, but senior social was one of the things I struggled in. I didn't get the very best grades, and again, it was the lack of motivation to really apply myself to the word, and then the lack of ambition and the lack of understanding how to set a goal and how to reach that goal. But one thing that we're noticing so those of you who got young people, you got a young man that's struggling in school, or maybe you are having some difficult moment, you ready to give up and throw in the towel. One of the things that I want to encourage you is that you cannot stop. You cannot stop. You're going to have difficult time. Life in general, you're going to have some bumps in the road. But if you hear how Mr. Howard, he keeps telling us, he moved from one thing to the next thing. Even though there were difficult times, he never allowed himself to get so discouraged. He said to himself, you remember the woman that had the issue of blood. She went to all of the doctors and she couldn't get healed. Matter of fact, she spent all of her money, and the scripture says things rather grew worse. It got worse. I mean, she tried to fix her problem, but it got worse. But she heard that Jesus was in the press, and she said to herself, if I can touch the hem of his garments. One of the things that I look at Mr. Howard and how he's gone through what he's gone through, he kept telling himself, I will go to a major university. That's a goal. That's a goal. And when you have a goal, even though you have hard times in life, your eyes, your mind is focused on that goal. And what do I do to achieve that goal? Let me ask you this question real quick. What was the specific thing that you would say prompted you to say, you know what, I think the Navy is good for me right now?
I had no other options, and I wanted to do something. I wanted to be something, and that's something that keep popping into my head. In spite of my adversities, in spite of my challenges,
yep,
I still could dream. And music was always a crutch for me. I always listened to music that was inspirational. I always had a song in my heart, on my mind that inspired me, and so I always thought that in spite of what I was going through, I knew I could be more and do more. And if I take one step at a time, put one foot in front of the other, and don't give up, be resilient, then sooner or later, I can make it to where I want to be.
Awesome. So I'm going to I've got to do something. I don't really, and then that could be a place in someone's life where they say to themselves, I really don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something. Because a lot of people at that point, they'll say, you know what, I'll do nothing until I find something to do. And what happens to many of us is that years go on, time go on, and you find yourself not doing absolutely nothing at all. And you end up crying your woulda, shoulda, couldas, because you never motivated yourself or pushed yourself to accomplish, anything. So saying to yourself, listen, I can sit here in Muskegon. I can, I don't know, stand on the corners, hang at the liquor stores, or whatever. But you said, you know what, I've got to do something. And at the time, the Navy was that thing that you wanted to do. Because once you lose that momentum, and then you said something, you wanted to do something, but then you said you still had a dream. You still had a dream. And I oftentimes tell people, it is not the big steps that you take in life that leads you to the place of success. It's not always the big steps. Sometimes it's the small little steps. The making the right decision at the right time can either make you or break you. But when you have a dream, it's the small little bitty step. Because I think we live in a society right now that we want it all, and we want it right now, today. We don't want to work for nothing. We don't want to have to sacrifice. for for anything. We live in a microwave society where we want to put the food in, hit the button, boom, there it go. And sometimes we think life and achievements and success is like that, but it is hard work. It's one right decision followed by one bad decision, followed by one right decision, and that cycle goes on and on until you finally start making the right decisions. Now, take us from after the Navy. You're out of the Navy. Step number one. You graduate. You actually graduate from high school. Of course, it wasn't the way you desired and the way you wanted it, but you accomplished that goal. Let me emphasize on something. Sometimes your achievement is not going to look like everybody else's. I want y'all to hear me on Facebook. I want you to hear me on YouTube. Sometimes your achievements, your accomplishments are not going to always look like everybody else's. Never measure yourself to anybody else's success. Your success is going to look much different than anybody else's. And sometimes we make a mistake and we measure ourselves to other people. And because we don't measure up, so we feel we don't measure up to other people, it's easy for the devil to come in and make you feel that you are a failure. Your success cannot be measured to other people. So his first step of success, and I believe that any kind of accomplishment you made, that's a success. Didn't walk across the stage, but he was still successful in that pursuit of his education. It didn't look like he wanted it to look. It didn't look like everybody else's look. He didn't get a chance to walk. However, he was still successful because he accomplished something. Step number one. Step number two, he had to do something. Make up in your mind to do something. See, one of the things is how I can deal with people who make mistakes. I can deal with people who fail. See, you can't make a mistake if you ain't never did nothing.
Yeah.
People that don't make mistakes, people that don't make wrong decisions are people that never put forth the effort to do something. I can deal with people that make mistakes, that error, that don't get it right, because you can fix wrong. You can fix a mistake. You can fix an error. You can point somebody that's going in the wrong direction. You can point them in the right direction, but you can't do nothing with nothing. It's hard to do. It's hard to do something with nothing, but nobody's doing that. So you make this step, and so now I'm out of the Navy. Okay, what's next? Because now, Leon, we're in a town where our daddies had good jobs, our granddaddies had good jobs. Some of them came up here from Mississippi, came up here from Arkansas. They came up here. They were sending buses down to those areas, bringing men here to work jobs. Men moved their whole families here, and our dads worked. They had good pensions. They had the UAW. They had all of this thing going for them. But by the time it gets to the 80s, them jobs that our fathers and our grandfathers had, they're not gone. And the ones that are left, you got 10 people to one job. So do I sit here and try to find a job? What do I do next? I'm out the Navy. What do I do next? Come on, talk to us, Leon.
What the next thing for me was, and I have to say this, we talk about making a mistake. I remember when I was working at Eagle, Ottawa, and it was pretty good money. For 6 months, we was making good money. And right before I got laid off, I ended up buying a Mustang, a 5.0 Mustang.
I remember that one.
I wanted to show something for my time in the military, because you feel like you have to show something materialistic to show it was worth doing. So wow. I bought a Mustang the day I got laid off from Eagle, Ottawa. And so wasn't very smart at all, but I did it.
Young,
because I wanted, young, and I want to show, something for my work. And so, but one thing I did also do was that I enrolled at Muskegon Community College.
Awesome.
And I remember when I went to go enroll and I talked to this admission counselor, and they told me I had to start off taking math and English. Well, guess what was my worst subjects in high school? Math and English. And I felt like if I would have took those classes that the counselor told me to take, that I would have dropped out. So I said, no, I'm not. I won't take that. I want to start off with some electives. I want to start off taking advertising and marketing because I was good. One thing I knew I was good at was making connections and being creative. And I knew if I could take marketing and advertising, that will feed my strengths.
Okay.
And I knew if I fed my strengths, then maybe I could build some momentum. But if I would have took English and math, things I was weak in, then I would have dropped out. So I didn't go with the council advice, and I took marketing and advertising. And keep in mind that my brother just passed. Like I said, we was out swimming together. He drowned, and I can almost remember him calling my name right before he went under. And that still haunt me to this day, knowing that my brother was calling my name and I wasn't there to save him or help him.
Okay.
And the other thing is that I became a father figure to my nieces and nephew, to my nieces. And I didn't take that lightly. I knew that I would have to step in and be a father figure to them. And so I knew I had to do something with my life to be a model to them.
Right.
And so while attending Muskegon Community College, I ended up running into someone that my mama worked with named Mary McDonald. And to this day, I have to thank her for providing me with an opportunity that changed my life. It was something called Miracle Vista that she told me to apply for. I happened to run to her at the community college, this on a whim, and she asked me how I was doing. I said good, and she told me, I want you to apply for a position called Miracle Vista at the community foundation. So I said, okay, I'll apply for it. And I really didn't know nothing about Miracle Vista, never did any type of community programming, but I said I'll apply for it. So I went and applied for it, had an interview, and I did so bad in my interview, I don't know how I got the position. I don't know how I got it. They told me I did so bad, I had to come back and interview because I wasn't used to interviewing. I didn't know what to do for an interview to prepare for it. And so I don't think I got the job because I was the best qualified. I often say I got the job because I needed it. It was an opportunity that I needed. And they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. They saw something in me that was inside that I didn't know how to bring out.
I like that.
And so they gave me the position. They knew I needed it, that opportunity. They knew that I needed it, a chance to understand myself and to show myself what I could do.
Right.
So I took on, I got the Miracle Vista position, and I worked there for a year. And during that time, I worked with something called the Family Coordinating Council, which got a block grant from the state, and they just dispersed community building grants to community organizations to do community programming. And my responsibility was kind of to assess the grants and determine who would get the money, and also to kind of track and follow the programs. But I also had the opportunity to do my own events. And one of the things I did was that I did an African American Expo in the Muskegon Mall. Okay. And that's what the marketing and advertising really fed into me.
Also,
because I knew I was creative and I could bring together thoughts and ideas and make connections between theories and philosophies and do something with it. So I knew there was from attending meetings and going to community programs and events, I knew there was health disparities in Muskegon. And I thought to myself, well, why not have some type of event where we brought people down to get free health for them to get information about health and to provide health screenings. And in order to get them down, we could have like an expo, have entertainment, we could have vendors, we could have a fashion show, and all kind of activities to bring them down there. And then while they're down there, they could get the information they need to live healthier lives and to give health screenings. And I connected with someone named Jeff Milton, and we made it happen.
I remember. I know Jeff. Yeah, awesome man.
Yeah, well, we made it happen. And from doing that and doing other community programs and events, I end up meeting someone named Terry Langston, who worked at Olivet College. And Olivet College at that time was giving community responsibility scholarships to individuals who did work in the community. And this was an effort to make their population more diverse. And because AmeriCorps Vista is all about community service and doing service in your own community, it's almost like the Peace Corps, but instead of going overseas, you do service in your own community.
Okay. And
because there was such a great connection between what the scholarship was and what I did at AmeriCorps Vista, I ended up getting a scholarship to Olivet. Now, mind you, I didn't think I was going to be successful at Olivet because I wasn't successful in high school. I did have some success in community college, so I could use that as my basis. And so when I went to Olivet, I remember taking the placement test, and it was algebra. And that could have been a totally different language because I never said nothing. I failed and bombed the placement test. And I felt like packing up and going home then.
Yeah.
But something told me, and this is where the military come into place. In the military, you march. And marching all about putting one foot in front of the other. Yeah. One foot in front of the other. Taking it step by step. And I told myself, I'm not going to quit. If I'm going to get kicked out of Olivet, they're going to have to kick me out. But I'm going to put one foot in front of the other and see where it takes me.
There you go.
And that's what I did. I just took it class by class, step by step. And I ended up getting connected with a mentor named Terry Lindsley, who was the director of the Office of Multicultural Education. And he took me under my wing because I was a non-traditional student coming from the military who was a little bit older than other kids who didn't quite fit in with other kids. And so he took me under his wing. And so I ended up becoming president of the Black Student Union. And one thing I have to mention, at Muskegon Community College, guess what I did? I was part of the Black Student Union.
Wow.
So there's a connection there.
That's the connection, right?
There's a connection there. And even before that, and I'm sorry for backtracking, one thing I did at Muskegon that few people know, there was a class that was reserved for student leaders. But because I didn't have no other class I could take, I ended up taking that class. And although I was an oddball, I didn't have good grades, and I was an oddball of that bunch, I was on the Student Leadership Council, and I participated in all the activities they did. So it wasn't a mistake, I don't think, that I was in that class at Muskegon, that Student Leadership Council at Muskegon. Fast forward, like I said, when I was going to MCC, I was part of the Black Student Union. And then when I got to Olivet, I ended up being president of the Black Student Union there for 3 years. I think it was three or 2 years. And I also was the lead student coordinator for the Upward Bound program. I was a peer mentor, peer teacher. Yeah. I started an investment club there. I really excelled there. And I really owe it to Terry Lindsley, who saw my potential. And one thing I really like about Olivet, I was able to apply my life experiences.
Okay.
So it wasn't all about academics. It was all about your life experiences and how you could apply them and use your strengths.
Let me pause right there because you said a few things that I want to unpack. You talked about how it's called America Vista, right?
Yep.
America Vista. Okay. And I think there was a placement test or something you took and you failed or didn't do good at. But they saw your potential. You mentioned something. You said they saw your potential or must have seen your potential because they opened up the door and allowed you to have an opportunity to do something that you didn't really get the grade or get the mark. And I want to emphasize on this that sometimes we never see the greatness that's on the inside of us. And sometimes when God moves in your life, God will send people who see in you what you sometimes can't see in yourself. I'm going to say that again, Facebook. I'm going to say that again, YouTube. Sometimes God will send people who will see in you what you sometimes can't see in yourself. When we think about David in the Bible, David never passed the eye test. When Samuel went to Jesse and he wanted to make a king over Israel, he goes to Jesse and say, listen, I need to see your sons. And so Jesse goes out, he gets all of his sons, all of the fighting ones, the ones had muscles and the ones that were tall and the ones that were warriors. He went and got those sons. And as Samuel began to look at these sons, he said, ain't neither one of them. No, neither one of them is not going to be the king. He said, do you got another son? He said, yeah, I got one more son. He said, he's out there herding sheep. He's out there herding sheep. And Samuel goes to see little young David at the time, and he anoints him to be king at that time. David did not pass the eye test. Now, moving up, there was this giant by the name of Goliath that was getting ready to attack Israel, and Saul is the king right now. All of David's brother was there. David comes to the battlefield, and what he comes there for is to bring his brother some food. He gets to the battlefield, he sees this giant, and he asks this question, who is this uncircumcised giant? His brothers told him, man, you meddling. Get out the way. Get out the way. We know how the story went. David ends up picking 5 smooth stones and he kills this giant. Now watch this. While the brothers who looked the part, they had all of the accolades and everything to be the next king. But I tell people this, some people, they may have the accolades or whatever for the position, but they're not anointed to do the job. Samuel saw something in David that David may not have saw in himself. And that's the way God does. And God will strategically, watch this, y'all got to hear this. God will strategically set your life in an order that no matter how many mistakes, how many bad decisions you might have made in life, when God's hand of favor, watch this, is on your life, he will always order your steps in a way that no matter what happens, you're going to end up on the other side successful. So even though you did not get the mark on the test or whatever it was, you did not get the mark that you so desire or they so desire, God had already, see, the Bible tells us that God knows the end before the beginning. Somebody need to catch this. He knows the end before the beginning. God already sees you as successful. I'm getting ready to help somebody. He already sees you as overcoming. He already knows what your potential is. He already knows the value that he's placed on the inside of you. And what God does, God, watch this, he goes into your future and he sets it up that no matter what happens in your life, you are going to be successful. That's why I don't care what you're dealing with in life right now. You cannot get to the place where you have a give up attitude. You cannot get to the place where you're having hard times or you're having struggles and you have a faint-hearted attitude. Because many of you, watch this, many of you, You are at the brink of your breakthrough. You're at the brink of that door, that opportunity that's getting ready to open in your life. All you have to do is do what Mr. Harvard say: put one foot in front of the other and keep on going. And so that's the way God does. Amen. That's the way God does. I'm getting too preachy. This is supposed to be an interview, but I get too preachy. But
No, no.
that's the way
Yeah.
God does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we AmeriCorps, and now you went to the Navy. You go through AmeriCorps. Now you're at Olivet, and you're going through Olivet. Now your Olivet experience. Now here's a young man who struggled in high school, not because he didn't have the ability to understand the information, but come on, y'all know in high school, if you went to Muskegon, was a big school, and it was a lot of people there, and it was easy to get lost in that school. Teachers had over 20, 30 kids in that school, so it's easy to kind of lack off, and not saying that the teacher wasn't doing their job, but it was easy to get lost in the school with so many, not as many as they had today as they had back then. So I'm struggling in school. I go to Vanderline. I had some other struggles in my life. I'm at Olivet. So now, what am I doing now, Leon? What am I doing now after I had these experiences? I too, when I was in college at Baker, I was a marketing major. And a lot of all of this stuff you see in the backgrounds, and right now I do programs for funerals and different stuff like that. And I do a lot of do flyers and different things, and all of the marketing ideas and things that I learned when I was in college. But I can't say that I wasn't the best high school student. But when I got to college, I did like you did. I took those advertising classes, those marketing classes. That stuff just intrigued me. And so I'm using that stuff today, even in my pastorship and everything else that we do, nonprofits that we do, and other things that we do. We kind of use some of that to push some of the things that we do. So now you're at Olivet. I'm back in college. I'm back in school again. I'm back in school again. What are the resources? What did you do that I struggled in school? Now I'm going back to school. What did you do to say, I'm going to accomplish this? Was it a tutor? Was it taking your time? Was it taking certain classes? What did you do?
One important thing is that I was humble and allowed myself to be mentored and to be shaped by someone, to have someone come into my life and to pour into me. Sometimes people don't let people pour into them. And I think that was an important thing. I let someone pour into me. And I took advantage of all of the resources that was at Olivet, the writing center. I knew I wasn't a great writer. When it comes to dotting I's and crossing T's, or maybe the grammar piece of it, those were my weaknesses. But when it comes to writing with substance and having something to say, I was good at that. So I knew my weaknesses, I knew some of my strengths, and I went to that resources to help address my weaknesses. The writing center, the math center. I was there daily to make sure that I achieve my goal and to graduate.
So you got to use the resources that God, because on your way to success, God is going to always put some things in your life that's going to help you along the way. So you have to be able to use those resources. And as you said, you have to humble. Don't be a know-it-all. One of them, don't be one of them people, I got it. I know. You ever dealt with them kind of people? Facebook, YouTube. Y'all ever dealt with them kind of people? I know. They don't know nothing. They don't know nothing. So you got to be, my wife said, she said, yes. Who was this? I don't know how you delete people. This must be coming from YouTube. Somebody from Ethiopia. I got to figure out how to delete these people. Oh, I don't know what that is. Somebody hacked. See, I got to figure out how to make it private on YouTube. Anyway, Lou said that's ain't number the devil trying to get us off. But you got to use the resources that God sends you and that God gives you to help you, along the way. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody need a get back person. They need a person in their corner that's going to inspire them, that's going to encourage them. They need a person that's going to mentor them. Listen to all of the information that you can get. And my pastor, former pastor, Superintendent Piggy, he oftentimes told us, he said, take the good and leave the bad. Take the good information and leave the bad, but you have to have those resources. You're out of Olivet, and now you're getting ready to go to a prestigious, awesome college. Your dream is coming true. Tell us about your beginning with, now I love Michigan State. I love all my Michigan teams, but I love Michigan State. Tell us about that and your pursuit for education, because now you're shifting. You're in business. If my understanding, You're in business. So now I got this opportunity to go to Michigan State, but now I'm going to shift into education. Now, talk to us about that transition from Olivet. What was going on in between Olivet to Michigan State, and what were the things that happened that shift you to that educational concept, and how did all of that give us that? How did all of that happen?
Well, I didn't go straight to Michigan State. I actually came back home. I came back home, and I have to admit, I did struggle. I struggled a little bit to find my way after I graduated. I came back home because I wanted to be. I went to school for business administration, and I thought I wanted to do corporate finance to help impoverished communities build wealth.
Okay.
But guess what I wasn't good at? I wasn't good at math. So I would go in and take a pre-employment test at Raymond James, and I didn't do too well on it. And so I was struggling a little bit of achieving my goal of helping to build wealth in communities like mine. And so I ended up working at Touchstone, which is now KPEP, and substitute teaching. I was sub during the day and work at Touchstone KPEP at night. And I did that for about 2 years. And while doing that, though, I noticed something. I noticed that some of the kids who I dealt with during the daytime in the schools, I dealt with their fathers in the evening at KPEP and Touchstone. And their kids seemed to be some of the worst ones that I dealt with. And I started asking myself, why is this? And then I started reflecting on my own experience coming through the K through 12 system. And I started to reflect on my experiences at Olivet and what I enjoyed doing, and what my mentor did. Because right before I graduated, my mentor asked me, he said, Leon, once you go to the University of Iowa and you can study something called student affairs, and then you can work at the college I work at, which was, I think it was Wesley University in Iowa. And I said, man, I won't do that. I'm going to corporate finance. That's what I got my degree in. And I don't want to go too far away from my family and my nieces. So I turned them down. But when I got back home and I started reflecting on what I liked and what I was good at, I started to revisit that offer, that concept of getting a degree in student affairs. And I remember I applied to a few different places, and let me back up. I originally was trying to get to grad school to go get a degree in corporate finance. I didn't want to give up on my hopes of being in corporate finance. So I tried to apply to Michigan State business school. That didn't work out. And I remember I was a little upset and depressed about it. And I called my cousin. And my cousin, Andre, who happened to name to be Andre, he said,
Great name.
Why you crying about that for? He said, so what? And he just like tried to, diss me off, and that made me mad. And so I said, wait a minute. There got to be another way. And so I started looking into programs that didn't require you to take the GRE, because that was my holdup. I wasn't a great test taker. So I found out that Michigan State had a program called Student Affairs. And basically, it was a degree in what I did in undergrad. It focused about creating an experience for students that help them to develop academically and socially while they're in college.
Okay, all right.
And that was the same degree that my mentor had his master in. And what he wanted me to go study when he offered me, when he requested that I go enroll in and go to Iowa with him and enroll into Iowa University. Well, like you said, God is the ultimate GPS system. Because even though I turned that down, he helped to redirect me and finding my way to the field I probably should have been in the first place.
Wow.
So I went ahead and I applied to Michigan State Student Affairs Program, and I got in. And I ended up graduating from Michigan State, and it wasn't easy. Because once again, the same problems that I had in high school followed me to grad school, because I was a two-finger pecker. Imagine writing a 10-page paper with citations and all that using two fingers.
That is hard.
I pecked my way through grad school. But once again, it was that philosophy of putting one step in front of another.
Right.
And I remember in the military, you said a cadence, stepping on your left, stepping on your right. I remember saying that going from the library to the dorm, and from the dorm to the library, burning that midnight oil. And believe me, I had to burn some midnight oil in order to get my papers on time. I had to go to the writing center every day. And because once again, I wasn't great when it came to dotting the I's across the T's, but I was great with metaphors and describing, and great at making connections between theories and experiences. And so by doing that, I was able to make it through grad school. And after I graduated, I ended up working at Albion College for a little bit, for 6 months. And then I got the opportunity to work at the University of Akron for a couple of years as a hall director. I was a hall director at Albion College, and I was hall director at the University of Akron. But I wanted to get back home because I still felt a sense of responsibility of being involved in the lives of my nieces and nephews.
Right.
And one of the things I take the most pride in, and that I wanted to do, was to make sure that others in my family had the opportunity to make it to college and to get education. So I decided to leave the University of Akron and to try to get a job closer to home. Okay. And that's when I applied to the University of Michigan and ended up getting a job at the University of Michigan as a hall director. I started off as a hall director. But let me tie something together. Remember I told you I held a position in student leadership in high school at Muskegon High School.
Yeah.
And then I was part of the Black Student Union at Muskegon Community College. And then I was president of the Black Student Union at Olivet College. Well, when I started working at the University of Michigan, guess what I ended up being?
What's that?
I ended up being the president of the Black Faculty and Staff Association there. So all those steps of leadership helped prepare me for the next step in leadership. And so I was the president of the Black Faculty Staff Association for like 5 years not 4 years at the University of Michigan. As a matter of fact, it was kind of non-existent when I got there. But after working there for a couple of years and seeing some of the challenges that Black students face and that Black faculty and staff face, and hearing about that there once was an organization that helped to address those type of issues, I brought together a group of people and revitalized it and brought it back to life.
Look at that! Look at that! So I want to go back and impact something else. We almost get ready to wrap it up, but you said something about you struggled. You had to go to the tutors. You had to go to the reading center and all of these different things. And some of the things that you want to do. You said one statement, and I want to emphasize on that statement. You said, "I found a way." I want us to understand that I found a way. I like what you said. I found a way because listen, there's going to be hindrances. There's going to be roadblocks in your pursuit of success. And again, success looks different for everybody. But maybe there's a business. Maybe you want to get married or you are married. Maybe you want to have children. Maybe you want to have a family. Maybe you're trying to buy a house or car. Maybe you're saving for retirement or you're saving for a trip or maybe you want to open up a business or you want to grow your business. Maybe you want to go to school or maybe you want to go back to school and you think you're too old to do it. Whatever it is you're trying to achieve in life, you got to understand there are going to be roadblocks. Life is everything about life is not easy, but he said something. He found a way. To go back to scripture, when the woman with the issue of blood, if we remember, the woman was considered to be unclean. So according to the law, she wasn't even supposed to be around nobody. Matter of fact, when she stepped to anybody, she had to yell out, I'm unclean. So can you imagine she's on her way to Jesus and all of these people are surrounding Jesus and here she comes. She got to yell out, I'm unclean. Can you hear the noise in the crowd talking about her, putting her down, asking what she doing here? But the Bible said she pressed her way through. She pushed her way through the crowd. She couldn't go straight to him. So she had to touch what is called the hem of his garment, which is the lower part of his the garment that he had on. So she had to stoop down and get on her knees probably in order to touch the hem of the garment. The emphasis is that she found a way to get, watch this, what she wanted. Facebook, YouTube, you got to find a way to get it. There's always a way out there. Don't quit because you're having difficult times. And then Mr. Leon said he helped somebody when he got to a place of success. When he got to a place, and I still believe there's higher heights for him. But when he got to a place of comfortability, he's accomplished some things. He remembered that I've got some family members that I can't leave behind. I got some other people. God didn't give me all of this. He didn't put all of this value in my life for me to not be the one that go back and to help some of my family out. I want to do something, Leon. I want to ask you this question. And that is, if there was a theme song, well, I'll put it like that. Give me one of your favorite quotes by one of your favorite people and why that quote is so important to you as in terms of your success.
Okay. And if you don't mind, there's two things I got to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
In spite of and but God, been on my mind all day long. Because in spite of my weaknesses, in spite of the barriers, in spite of challenges, in spite of mishaps, I still made it through.
I think you need
because of God.
Say that again. Say that again.
In spite of and but God. Because in spite of everything I went through, all of my challenges, all of my mishaps, in spite of my low confidence at times, my low self-esteem, I still made it through. And that's because but God helped me through.
I had to give a hand
It's
clap
quite
to that
often,
one.
but God.
I had to give a hand clap to that one.
And I'm sorry, but it's not a quote I want to share, but it's a story that helped me through my experience. Two things. One is I used to consider myself broken because of everything I've been through, broken.
Okay.
And then one day I wrote a piece and said that I'm not all my scars and cracks don't make me broken. It makes me a cultural artifact.
Say that again. Say that one more time.
All my cracks and scars don't make me broken. It makes me a cultural artifact. But listen to this though. I told somebody that at a conference one time, and this guy happened to be from Japan. And he told me, you know what? No. That's not true. He said, in my country, we have a technique, and I think and I can't tell you the name of it right now. I think it's called Kichikamura. But what they do is they crack pottery on purpose, and then they fill the cracks with gold.
Wow!
And then it becomes more valuable. So that helped me to reshape and reframe how I saw myself.
Wow!
That yes, I might have cracks or scars, and I believe God is filling them with gold, filling them with light, filling them with hope. So I become more valuable.
Wow. Ain't that so? Even though, watch this, even though you have cracks, because we are all going to have cracks. We all have cracks. It's God that takes those broken pieces. He puts them back together, but he ain't putting them back together with just anything. He's putting them back together with something, watch this, more valuable than the vase. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So when you're cracked apart and God puts you back together again, reminds me when the prophet looks in the window and he sees the potter, he's making the clay. And the clay wasn't exactly the way the potter wanted it. And so he messes up the clay and he keeps on working with it until he gets it just like he wants it to be. Now, watch this. He gets that vase, that whatever it is, just like he wants it to be. It's perfect. He paints it. It's nice. It's sitting on somebody's table, sitting on somebody's counter. But guess what? It still has there still is the opportunity for it to break. But because the potter, which is God, loves his creation, God don't waste nothing. I tell people that God don't waste. No, I don't care what kind of bag you come out of. God does not waste anything. God takes those broken pieces and God finds a way to put them back together again. And he puts it back together more valuable. It's more valuable after the brokenness than it was before the brokenness. I like that. That is good. Leon, theme song. Now, but we come from Muskegon. We do music here in Muskegon.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We come from me and you come from an era of DJs. You know, well, it was DJs all over the place. So I want to know, what would your theme music be? What is a theme music that will best describe Mr. Leon?
My theme song. I have to give a shout out though to Eric B. and Rakim, Move the Crowd, because of my speech impediment. I always dream of how I could come up with words that will move people and change people.
Awesome.
But I'm not going to choose that. My theme song is Zoom. And the reason why I choose Zoom, because Zoom talks about how people want to label you, how people want to put you in a box, and how a person wants to break free and fly to a place where they could be what they want to be.
That's right.
And that's always been my goal, is to go to a place and be in a place where I could choose to be what I want to be.
Wow. And that place doesn't necessarily have to be a physical place. That
it
place
does not.
can even be a place in your mind, a place in your thinking, your ideology, the place of your desire. Because I believe that you are as great. And I got a message, and I'm going to share something at the end of this. But I got a message that God gave me. You are what you think. You are what you think. And what the Bible says, that so a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You are what you think. So you can be anything. You can take yourself to any kind of place you want to take yourself to. It's a matter of your thinking. It's a matter of how you perceive yourself. I want everybody. We got to get. We didn't hear. We didn't hear. This hour went faster than what I thought it was going to go, and we didn't know. It was a lot of stuff that we did not unpack. We're going to have Mr. Leon back for a part 2, and we're going to really deal with some specific. We talked about his life, but we want Mr. Leon to come back, and we want him to tell us some things that you can do, I can do, your young people can do to help them get to where they want to be. So I want Facebook Live, I want YouTube, I want you to go ahead on, give me some likes and give me some hearts. Come on, let's celebrate this awesome man. Come on. It's supposed. I see. I got all of this. What you call this stuff? And when I push the hand clap, it's supposed to hand clap, but it didn't hand clap. So here we go. So we celebrate him on today, and we got to do a part 2. We definitely have to do a part 2. But listen, I want to leave something with you. You are what you think. You are what you think. Okay? Listen, here's a few things I want to share with you, and you got to remember this. Number 1, know that you are what God says you are and not what your circumstances have told you you are. You are not your circumstance. You are not your bad decision. You are not the broken home that you might have come from. You are not your mistakes. You're everything that God says that you are. Second thing, never measure yourself by your past mistakes and past decisions. Don't let that be the measuring stick of your future success. Everybody messes up. Everybody errors, and everybody makes mistakes in life. Number 3, never allow others to measure you or judge you. Now, it's bad enough that you measure yourself, but it's even worse when you allow others to put staples on you, put labels on you because of your past mistake. Number 4, think possibilities, not impossibilities. Think possibilities. It reminds me of the little engine that could. A lot of people know that story. But the little engine was climbing this mountain, and it was hard for the little engine to pull all of them toys up the mountain. But the little engine kept on saying, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. The scripture tells us that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. You've got to think possibilities. Even in impossible situations, God can make impossibilities possible. Number 5, visualize yourself in victory and in greatness. Visualize, see yourself successful. Don't look at yourself as where you are now. Look at yourself as to where you want to be. See yourself being that manager. See yourself being that school teacher, that architect, that engineer. See yourself being married. See yourself living in that home, driving that car. See yourself where you want to be. Number 6, understand that your story is still being written. See, some of us, your life is like this. That's a blank piece of paper. There's nothing on it. Listen, your story is still being written. And until you fold your arms and close your eyes and you land in somebody's casket, God is still writing your story. But here's the thing that I like about God. God gives you the opportunity to co-author with him your life story. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Yeah. God gives you the opportunity to co-author your life stories. How does he do that? By every door he opens and by everything he puts in your heart, every desire, every creative idea. He allows you that opportunity. And the last thing, know that God favors you. Understand that God's hand is on your life. You're living right now because of God's hand. You're looking at somebody right now. Based on medical science, I should be dead. Amen. I went through cancer. They told me the cancer had spread it throughout my body. They were going to have to take out my lymph nodes. I've been shot, died on the operating table, no oxygen to my brain. Told my mother that more than likely, because of the lack of oxygen to his brain, he's going to end up in the mental institution. They were sure that I had brain damage. But look at God, because God had his hands on my life, and God's got a purpose. Can I tell somebody something? When God is in the driver's seat of your destiny, all the devils in hell cannot stop you. Well, listen, it was exciting to have each and every one of us, each and every one of you, to join with us on tonight, this pop-up session. We got to come back. Leon, we got to come back, man.
Yeah. There's still a lot to unpack.
There's still a lot to unpack this hour. So we're going to come back, and I don't know, maybe we'll set something up for Monday, and we'll just expand it. We'll expand it. But I want everybody one more time. Come on, give me some likes and heart for Leon. Let's go. Give me some likes and hearts. Yeah.
I'll be back.
Y'all hear that?
I'll be back.
We gonna be back, y'all. We gonna be back. If he's available, we might do this next Monday, and we might share some more things with you all. But again, I am so thankful and grateful to each and every one of you that have taken out your time to join with us on tonight. Thankful for all of the co-workers. I see some of you guys in here. Thank God. I see some of my church family in here. My lovely wife, she was on here. We're thankful for all of you that is on YouTube. We had a few haters that were coming in on YouTube. Sometimes these people from other countries be coming in and making comments and trying to sell stuff. You can see them on YouTube. I don't know how to block this stuff, but we're excited to have you with us. Listen, it is time to go. It's time to go. I got a pork chop waiting for me. Listen, I want you to remember this, as I always say, imparting, and that is your victory. It starts today. Leah, I want you to give us some closing remarks, and we're going to get out of here.
My closing remark is find success daily. One thing I realized, no matter how many awards you get, no matter how many accolades you get, they come and go. And you can't live off of that. But what you can live off of is finding success daily. There's something in your life, something you can do on a daily basis where you can find success, and that can feed you, and that can keep you taking that step, taking that next step, taking that next step. Find success daily.
Find it. Y'all hear that? Every day of your life, find success. Do you know that some people, your success is just getting out of the bed? Come on, make small goals. Small goals every day of your life. Let me say something. Get used to achieving something. Set yourself small goals. Paint the wall. Buy some new carpet. Get some new stuff for your bathroom. Throw out some old clothes. Whatever it is. Success, again, it's not this great big old thing. Find small, successful things. Get used to working toward a goal. Some of you right now, you want to climb the mountain, but you're tripping over rocks. I'm going to say that again. You want to climb a mountain, but you're tripping over rocks. Step over the rock before you try to climb the mountain. Set yourself some small, everyday goals. Some of you right now, you're missing appointments. All you got to do is put them on your refrigerator. Let that be a goal this week. Small little goals. And you're going to find yourself making success and reaching your goal as a part of your life. Success just going to start becoming natural. And as life goes on, your goals are going to get bigger, and the value and the benefits of those goals are going to increase. Well, listen, my name is Pastor Andre McClanahan. We have Mr. Leon Howard with us on today. We are excited about him. Listen, look, one more time, let's give him a hand so we can get up out of here. All right. And listen, I want y'all to remember this one thing.
I'll be back.
We're going to be back. We're going to be back. We're going to be back. Listen, God loves you. I love you. It was exciting to have you with us on tonight. Listen, as I always say in party, remember this, that your victory, guess what? It starts today. God bless you. May heaven smile on you. Peace.